from the system. I do recall that a friend of mine who was with Ghana Highways Authority was always complaining about how they have failed our generation. Because he was telling me that when he was in KNUST, even before you could complete university, there's a job waiting for you.
Yeah.
Now, our young men, our young women will complete the university. Some have masters, multiple masters, quadruple masters, and they are sitting in the house. They have no jobs to do. When you tell them, say, oh, well, you can create your own job. Which system have you created? Which enabling environment have you created for it to be very easy for young people to start their own businesses? Yeah. How do you contract loans? How can you procure loans? How can you source for funding? Even if you had the greatest idea. If you are somebody like me who grew up in a home where we had nothing, it's just by the blessings and the grace of God that we are sitting here today. There are so many people who are more intelligent and knowledgeable, who are filled with ideas, but they do not have the requisite resources to be able to, push their dreams. That is the country in which we live. We live in a country where the leaders do not care. They don't simply because they know that as foolish as we are, every 4 years, as foolish as we are, we will still go and queue and vote for these same two political parties. These same two. And then when they win, then you come into my inbox. I'll show you messages. Come in, Sudan, so please, I need a job. Can you help me? How can I help you? You have voted for people, first of all, to give you jobs. Number two, to create the enabling environment if they are unable to give you jobs, so you can start your own businesses. What do we see? What do we see? Ghana is retrogressing instead of progressing. Check it. Check it. Bless. Check it. Look at, if you want to know that Ghana is retrogressing, look at the number of people who are hawking on the street of Accra now. Go to Kumasi. When I was in KNUST, we didn't have traffic in Kumasi. We did not. Kumasi was such beautiful, serene lake of tranquility. The air, the oxygen in Kumasi was breathtaking. Today, go to Kumasi. Go to Kumasi. When I was much younger, we went to Eastern Region. The greenery, beautiful landscape. Today, all the trees have been logged. Go and see. Go to Ebri and go and check. Go to Eastern Region. The roads are terrible. So, are we moving forward or we are moving backwards? Why? And yet, every 4 years, we will still sing the same song of unnecessary, irrelevant, and truthful appellations. Appellating, oh, this one did that. Meanwhile, your grandmother lives in Bodie, who has no water flowing through his taps. Look at our forest reserves. Look at what we are doing to ourselves. Look at Galamsey. And yet, we have leaders who have sat down for all these years unconcerned because they have the money to build boreholes in their homes. So they don't feel the water crisis that we are feeling.
Yeah.
Bless, unless something is done, Ghana will not grow. I'm done.
Simply sit down. Right, coming up next is the newspaper review segment. Hamza Suhini will be here. So will be Saka Sade, and I think Councillor Pia Dankwa. Do not move a muscle. Just stay. Kwame Usudan so will be bringing you the newspaper review shortly. Wait, go for much a pound.
This theme reflects a shared commitment to creating an economy that is resilient, inclusive, and built on sustainable growth. It is an invitation to all stakeholders to contribute their expertise, ideas, and dedication to this national effort. Ghana is at a critical crossroads in its economic development. The challenges before us are stark, and the economic distress we face are undeniable. However, our collective resilience, ingenuity, and determination have always been the driving force of our nation's progress. We are not here merely to recount our struggles, nor are we here to resign ourselves to economic stagnation. We are here to seek solutions, to adopt strategies that will put us on a sustainable growth trajectory, and to ensure that we build an economy that works for every Ghanaian. For me, this is not just another policy discussion. It is an urgent call to action. A crucial moment for us as stakeholders to unite with purpose and resolve the challenges that face us. We've gathered here to create a powerful platform where government officials, policymakers, business leaders, economists, industry experts, development partners, and other key figures come together to shape the future of our nation. The insights, diverse perspectives, and actionable recommendations that emerge from these discussions must transcend theoretical frameworks and drive real, impactful decisions that will guide our national economy forward. Throughout our engagement, we will focus on practical strategies to restore macroeconomic stability and pave the way for long-term economic transformation. This includes developing policies that stimulate growth and create sustainable job opportunities for our rapidly growing population. We'll also examine the structural reforms that are necessary to unleash the private sector's potential and make it truly the engine of growth that drives job creation and innovation. This theme reflects our shared commitment to creating an economy that is resilient, inclusive, and built on sustainable growth. It is an invitation to all stakeholders to contribute their expertise, ideas, and dedication to this national effort. Ghana is at a critical crossroads in its economic development. The challenges before us are stark, and the economic distress we face are undeniable. However, our collective resilience,
has been very limited,
have always been the driving force of our nation's progress.
And were channeled to critical areas
to recount our struggles,
and protect them.
Nor are we here to resign ourselves to economic stagnation. We are here to seek solutions, to adopt strategies that will put us on a sustainable growth
trajectory,
and to ensure that we build an economy that works for every Ghanaian. For me, this is not just another policy discussion. It is an urgent call to action. A crucial moment for us as stakeholders to unite with purpose and resolve the challenges that face us. We've gathered here to create a powerful platform where government officials, policymakers, business leaders, economists, industry experts, development partners, and other key figures come together to shape the future of our nation. The insights, diverse perspectives, and actionable recommendations that emerge from these discussions must transcend theoretical frameworks and drive real, impactful decisions that will guide our national economy forward. Throughout our engagement, we will focus on practical strategies to restore macroeconomic stability and pave the way for long-term economic transformation. This includes developing policies that stimulate growth and create sustainable job opportunities for our rapidly growing population. We'll also examine the structural reforms that are necessary to unleash the private sector's potential and make it truly the engine of growth that drives job creation and innovation.
And worsens food insecurity, particularly for the most vulnerable. Tight monetary policy stance is essential to control inflationary limits, reduce risk premium, and improve credit to private sector, and encourage exchange rate stability is essential to contain the debt service and pass-through of import prices. Your Excellency, the recent reduction in T-bills alone is saving Ghana about $1 billion, 1 billion Ghana cedis. And that 1 billion Ghana cedis can be channeled to critical areas of the economy. And clearly, we need to take steps to reduce the borrowing and also reduce the cost of borrowing so that we'll be able to channel the dividend to support our national development. I now move to the way forward and conclude. Fiscal policy in the past 8 years has been very ineffective. As a result, the macroeconomic situation remains very fragile. It is imperative that we build a momentum for reforms. The quality of adjustment will be key to support growth and protect the poor and most vulnerable. Your Excellency, we have 7 focus areas: enhancing domestic revenue mobilization, balancing equity, simplicity, and efficiency, pursuing a quantitative fiscal consolidation, ring-fencing growth, enhancing spending, and social spending is the second focus item. The third is ensuring compliance with public financial management and public procurement laws, implementing robust commitment control to maximize value for money and ensure fiscal discipline. The fourth is to enhance the efficiency of public spending in social programs and public infrastructure. The fifth is phasing out costly, regressive, and ineffective subsidies in the energy sector, whilst increasing targeted social programs. The sixth is reforming state-owned enterprises that create contingent liability and quasi-fiscal spending. Example is Ghana Cocoa Board and the almighty Electricity Company of Ghana. Your Excellency, strengthening Ghana's fiscal framework by redesigning the fiscal rule, strengthening automatic stabilizers,
back. This is the Newspaper Review segment. My name is Kokwalo Maso, host today, and then Kwame Usudanso is one of the panelists. Also, Councillor Apia Dankwa is here with us. Good morning, gentlemen. Councillor, it's been a while. It's been a long time, about a month or two without you being on the show.
Not two.
About a month.
It's about 2 weeks.
More than 2 weeks.
No, about 2
on
weeks.
this show?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
No, it's been more than 2 weeks.
It's been more than 2 weeks.
No,
on this show?
It's been more than 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. Yes,
No, it's been more than 2 weeks.
But it can be pardoned. But you see, the NDC, I think somebody wrote something on social media about how their communication front is breaking. And I think they must begin to inwardly look at it and address it. You know, because last week, I believe, the person who was assigned to be on the morning show did not show up. And today too, the person has not showed up. Yeah. It's becoming one too many, and we cannot encourage that. You understand? You see, this whole attitude of some of the people, the guys, they need to be careful. They need to be. I don't understand why politicians do these things up here. The very things we complained about when MPP was in power are the exact same things being repeated by these NDC guys. I don't know what is wrong with them. I don't know what gets into their head when they get power. I don't understand. What is power? You are useless if the people do not give you that power. You are very useless. So when the good people of this country decide that, for the next 4 years, I want to give you a little bit of my power so that you can do things for me, that power is not yours.
It's for the people.
It's for the people. The president is the chief servant of the republic, or of the generality of the Ghanaian people. He's a chief servant, or a servant, or a chief servant. All the other people, they are mates. MAIDs. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you are given the opportunity and the privilege and opportunity, you have to execute your mandate in the light of that privilege and that opportunity
that you were given.
So please, they must be advised. They must be advised.
Well, it is my fervent hope that Hamza Suhini joins us shortly. I don't know who is representing the MPP. But would start the show. We are already far behind time, just a few minutes to 9 a.m. I want to apologize to our viewers for the late start of the show. But let's look at these topics. Daughter of a murderer comment, angry team march to Parliament, Speaker demands confession from guilty MP, ex-NSA Deputy Director hits President's call, returns to Ghana amid investigations into ghost names scandal. The Herald newspaper captured this one as well as a host of other newspapers. Then if we have time, we shall also be looking at tomorrow's Independence Day celebration, which this government says is going to be modest about. We are not going to see a march past at the Independence Square. This time around, it's happening at the Flagstaff House. So these are the topics that we shall be discussing on the show this morning. And once again, hearty good morning to Councillor Apia Dankwa, whom we haven't seen in a long time. Right. Without further ado, let's get into the conversation. Would take it from where Kwame and I ended. We were having a conversation earlier on about the former deputy director of the National Service Authority, Gifty Owari. I mean, because of the fact that we're having that conversation before, I'd want us to look at that briefly. And I have two lawyers on the show this morning. On the legal front, we shall be looking at what that means. I'm sure should be invited by the National Investigation Bureau, NIB. But what are your expectations, Councillor Apia Dankwa? Now that she's in town, do you see an invitation? And is she probably in town because of that, or you think that there may be other reasons?
So let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning, and add that in the spirit of me of my having not been here for a while, to tell you that I miss them. I miss them. And my own Vice President, His Excellency. I'm allowed to call you His Excellency.
Yeah, you're allowed to. I think it will stay with me for
for the rest of
my life. So yeah.
Eric, I told you that your profile is changed forever and ever as you
a rich one for that matter.
Yes, exactly. And I must commend Kwame. I think he did a yeoman's job, and for me, I always consider it a privilege. No, we met here. Yeah. I think it's transcended into a brotherhood and brotherhood. And so the most important is and it was a privilege on my part to have campaigned for him. I think Ghana would have been better with Kwame as vice president under the able leadership of Alan John Kojo Martin. But it's not too late. He's just 40 years old. The future is very pregnant, and who knows? So on this national what's called service ghost name saga, a story that shook me to the core, but a story that keeps on resurfacing. I think the issue of ghost name is something that has plagued this country, and for me, it's symptomatic of, in my view, the two things that's pulling us back from realizing our potential and reclaiming our position as the Black South Africa. That's a fundamental lack of integrity, fundamental lack of commitment to the values espoused in our constitution. I think last year I came here so many times and I kept on talking about the day of reckoning. That there must be a day of reckoning. That there must be a day where we hold true to the values, principles of probity and accountability. That there must be a day where we hold high the banner of accountability. You know, I came here and I spoke about the need for us to create the right political culture. That's the only way in which we can sustain this democracy. And one of the fundamental and abiding values in that right political culture is the value of political leadership being held accountable by the citizenry. So in that light, I support the realization of that day of reckoning. And I support attempts at holding political leadership accountable. And I must almost commend the lady, what's her name?
Gifty Owari?
For having the courage to, as in spite of coming down, to at least seize the opportunity to clear her name. Because we must remember that as much as we are calling for a day of reckoning, as much as we are calling for a day of accountability, this is a country governed by the law. And our desire to create a right political culture is to guarantee for all of us the principles and values of the rule of law. And that value says that you are innocent until proven guilty beyond all reasonable doubt. You get a point. So, Miss Owari, or is she Mrs.?
I think she's Mrs.
Owari, for all intents and purposes, is innocent until she's been proven guilty. Now, what I expect from government is that in the light of the principles of probity and accountability, in the light of the oath they took, the president, his ministers, to be faithful to Ghana, it means that to be faithful to the values and principles of the country, expressed under our constitution, and oath to protect, defend, and preserve the constitution of this country, to do all in their power to go into this matter. Owari must be invited. She must be invited. They go into this matter, and where they believe, on the firm basis of the evidence available to them, that any wrong has been done in the country, they must pursue the ends of justice for the people of Ghana by prosecuting anybody they believe has a question to answer. The people are calling for due process. Due process will be followed, but the day of reckoning has come. And this matter should not be limited to just Madam Owari, but all the numerous suspicions of corruption must be dealt with. Saying that, you see, the government will not get credibility unless and until the Maslock lady, who was pronounced guilty by a competent court of jurisdiction, the government does everything to make her come and face the full rigors of the law. Because you see, we don't want to create an NDC Ghana, or no, do we want to create an NPP Ghana? We want to forge that strong nation where our values, our principles, you understand, are protected. Where the purpose for which we took this constitution is protected. Where the values and principles of the rule of law is guaranteed. That's the only reason why, that's the only way in which our right to our lives, our right to own properties, our right to pursue our own happiness, our right to our liberties can be guaranteed. So yes, she's in town. They have no excuse. You understand? They have no excuse. They must invite her. If she refuses, they must pick her up. Yes, they must pick her up, interrogate her, and intensify this day of reckoning. And intensify. We don't want, let's do something to represent something kind of politics. You know, that I scratch your back, you scratch my back.
Facade.
That facade. No, we don't want that. We want to see real accountability. And I think it's a proper discussion for us to also then look at our entire anti-corruption architecture. We have Yoko, we have Shiraj, we have the police, we are not a serious country. We play too much. As in the business of let's do something to represent something is too much. We from the movement for change, ably led by Honorable Alan John Kojo Chamante and Kwame Osudanso, proposed in our great transformational plan a comprehensive program to deal with these corruption issues. One, very central to our proposal is to have one law that consolidates all the legal framework that is meant to fight corruption, to curb and to eradicate all manner of ambiguity in terms of how the arrowhead in our fight against corruption. Because every year we lose close to $3 billion of monies that we cannot account for as a people. Almost every year. Two, in the spirit of let's do something to represent something, Nado, in how he created the Office of a Special Prosecutor, ensured that he was still under his control. Because when you read the 1992 Constitution, it says clearly that it's the Attorney General that must prosecute all criminal matters. And so if you create the Office of a Special Prosecutor without necessarily amending the Constitution, so it's the Constitution that grants the OSP those powers, then we are doing something to represent something, no commitment. So let's have that what's it called? Amendments. We consolidate our anti-corruption efforts well, and then we back it by law. And finally, to tell the political parties that the reasons why they were forged was so that they played their role in our forging that strong country, a country that's premised on the values and principles of the people of Ghana. Key among these are the values of probity and accountability. Yeah. So when a political party is seen to be supporting where a clear wrong has been done, and you are seen to be supporting efforts to investigate and understand, then it's like you are choosing the interest of your party ahead of the country. And the message it sends out there is that just join a political party, and even if you do wrong, they will fight for you. It's wrong. Yeah. We are fighting for the country. And so I like the efforts of the current government so far, but I'll be slow to pat them in the back, because we've seen this one too many times. Let us see a real commitment to fight corruption. Let us see a real commitment to protect the values and principles of the people of Ghana. Let's see real commitment to protect the property of Ghana. And let's see real commitment to ensure that the rule of law reigns.
Thank you very much. Kwame Osudanso was earlier talking about this issue. She knows the person at the center of this discussion, or at the center of this our conversation. You've already shared a thing or two with us.
Yeah.
Yes. What else do you have to add?
I think that it's not a departure entirely from the position stated by Senior Apia Dankwa. I think I share to a very large extent in the position of, particularly the legal position of Apia Dankwa. And again, that our country is built on laws and is built on the respect for those laws. We are governed by the Constitution, which Constitution operates on principles such as the rule of law. And so the rule of law dictates that persons who are alleged to have committed different types of offenses must be subjected to the laws of this country and not pronounced guilty. Albeit that it may be so palpable that this person may have committed an offense. Unless subjected to the laws of this country, you cannot defame the person by arriving at a conclusion from your own perspective that the person has indeed committed an offense, which is why I said that we should hasten with caution. Yeah. One thing is clear, that if we are not careful about how we make pronouncements, especially in relation to allegations of corruption, you will end up in the final analysis creating an irreparable damage to the reputation of the person that is alleged to have been involved in that said act. And that is why we must make sure that we allow the state institutions to work, we allow the investigative bodies to do their work, and if their work so describes the action of the persons involved as corruption, then clearly we can label it as such and, you know, go to court on the basis of that to secure a conviction. Apart from that, I don't think that we reserve that pious right to make pronouncements and to conclude that people have committed offense. Of course, when you are asked to manage a state institution or a state-owned enterprise, and when you are managed to maybe become a minister, when you are asked to represent the good people of this country, you are asked to do so on the basis of trust. You are asked to do so on the basis of the confidence so reposed in you by the people who have entrusted their opportunities to you. And so you must discharge that obligation without any personal, parochial interest. Therefore, if you have been asked to, lead the National Service Authority, you must discharge your obligation to the good people of Ghana without let or hindrance, without, having to commit crimes, without taking advantage of the loopholes that there exist in the system. And so anybody who does that, in my estimation, ought to be dealt with. But in dealing with that person, we must not make definitive pronouncements. So that in the final analysis, if investigations are conducted and the person is not culpable for any of the offenses or any of the allegations leveled against the person, then they can at least have their sanity intact and they can they can have their reputations protected. Other than that, Charlie, we are creating a big scar, like I told you. And so, yes, she's in town now. It's one of two things: that she's confident that she's not stolen, that she also heeded to the call
of the
by
President?
His Excellency the President to come and answer to some of the things. You see, sometimes some of these things, when they happen, because of previous promises made by the ruling party to the good people of this country, they are so quick and, to act. They are so, they are in such haste, to just act. Okay? Yes, you may have made promises. Yes, there's oral. Yes, there's this, there's that. But you must follow due process.
Right.
So that conclusively, all of us are satisfied that you did not act on the basis of, let's say, hearsay or on the basis of mere allegations. Like I told you, superficially, when you see the facts, this is coffee. Yes, it's coffee. Yeah, but in the coffee, somebody may decide to take milk. Somebody may decide to take sugar. You see? So the fact that you are saying that it's coffee and you think that it's black coffee does not necessarily mean that, there's no sugar in there, there's no what's it called, milk in there. Yeah. Unless we go into the matter before we can. So I don't want people to conclude. If he has committed an offense, oh, of course, why not? People must be made to suffer. In fact, Apia Dankwa, is best known for quoting the oath of the president when he's being sworn in as president of Republic of Ghana. That he is subjecting himself to the laws of Ghana in the event that he breaches the oath. And he must be made to suffer death or pain or punishment. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, of course, all of us are subjects of the law. And therefore, if we commit any act which contravenes the laws of this country, we must be made to suffer pain. And Gifty Oware, Kenuforiata, and all the other persons who have been mentioned are not different from people who must be subjected to, the laws of this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But Kwame, I want to find out from you, isn't disaffection also created by some actions of these people in the past? Because even when the NPP was in power, Gifty Oware was in the news. I mean, for other reasons. We didn't know at the time that this ghost name scandal existed. But for instance, she was supposed to release some money for, I think, the Black Queens or so, and she failed to do so. And her justification was that, I mean, the mere fact that we were playing for the senior national female team should bring you some sense of pride. And I mean, to the very extent that people who donated money to the Black Queens came under severe, scrutiny by this same person for doing so. So that disaffection towards her was created already, even in her own administration during the NPP's days, before this government came into place. Yes, so I mean, I'm asking this. I'm asking you this based on the assertions you made relative to defamation and then the assassination of a character and everything. But this is somebody who has been in the news for long, even for the wrong reasons.
But why is it wrong for people to say that people must play for their home country with pride? Why is it wrong?
Why should you not pay people when they have offered their service?
Yeah, service to what? To who? For what?
Yes, but you are also offering your service. You are being paid. You ensure that at the end of the month, your salary is paid into your account. You are paid.
Yes.
So why don't you also pay someone else for?
Were they not paid at all?
They were not paid.
At all.
They were not paid.
At all.
They were later paid.
Not adequate.
They were later paid an infinitesimal, portion of what was owed them. But you are paid in full.
No, it must be sufficient and not adequate, or the other way around. It must be sufficient. You see, my father was a police officer for many years. Many years. My father at the time, when they were under Cap 30 or something, was paid a pittance. But my father told me that he was not working because he loved, of course he loved the money, but he was not working because of the money. He was working in service of the country.
But you
see, hold on, I'm coming. And that he took pride in serving the country. Okay, a police officer. Until later he was changed to senior spine salary structure, and then they increased his salary small. People have made sacrifices.
Yes.
People died for a cause.
Yes.
Corporal Tipo, Sergeant Ajete, and the rest
died. Yes.
Used their blood to pay the price. Okay? Use their what? Their blood to pay a certain price. That Infum, who was a footballer, you remember them?
Yes.
Played for Black Stars with pride. Okay? So money should not be a consideration, in my estimation, for discharging your duty to the group of. Do you think there are people who are willing to play for Black Stars for nothing? I'm telling you today.
Yes.
I was a footballer.
Yes.
People were willing
People willingly, because they saw that to be an opportunity to shine.
But you see, I agree with you.
So I am saying that the mere fact that Gift Oware made those comments does not necessarily mean that because of that we should hang her for an action that eventually we may come to the conclusion that she don't even commit.
I'm only trying to state that she was even being hanged in her own government.
I agree.
I mean,
but
before now.
What I'm saying is that does not mean that she has committed the offense for which she's
I agree to that as well.
So we must just. I'm saying that we should just hasten cautiously.
Well,
and do what is right.
I do not know the facts of the case, but what I know is that even before this whole ghost names thing came about, I think she came under scrutiny for some of her actions. She actually owns a football club. I don't think it is a crime. It is not a crime to own a football club here in Ghana. However, relative to the comments that Kwame made regarding playing for your country, service to your country and all, do you also not think that it paints a bad picture? If you are not paying me what I deserve, but you are taking what you deserve, and it is glaring, it becomes obvious that you are living off what you are is supposed to be due me.
Are you earning what you deserve here?
Well,
is the president earning what he deserves?
We would say so.
Are lawyers being paid what we think we deserve? No. Exactly. Everybody, in fact, the Kayaye thinks that you are not paying them what they deserve.
Well,
so we live in a world where human beings are naturally insatiable. Okay, and human beings, given any opportunity, would want more. So I'm saying that every level has its payment requirement. Me, I'm a new lawyer. I may be fortunate to have clients who have bigger pegs, right? And so I can find a way of getting more money. But technically, if you put me pari passu with Senior P. Adankwa, who has over 10 years of experience, of legal experience, you expect me to be paid as much as he will be paid? It is not possible. So the point I'm making is that a general manager's salary would differ from the cleaner's salary. Unfortunately, they are all workers, but the presumption is that people put in more hours, people put in more work, people do more things, and therefore they are expected to be paid more. Okay, as socialists, we think that is not the way to go. However, that is the system that we live in. All right. So I'm saying that yes, you may lament, but that should not be the basis for you to hang somebody because you think the person is not doing your bidding, or because you think the person is not paying you what you deserve, or because you think the person has passed a comment which is in bad taste in your estimation. So whether or not the person has chopped ghost names money, okay, you think that yes, you in your mind the person has chopped the money. You don't like the person, so even if she's innocent, she's guilty. No, that's not how we should do things. Then all of us will be hanged later, because we will not be liked by all. I'm sure the submissions that you advance on Pan Africa and other TV platforms, you will not be liked by many. But must that be the basis for somebody to make spurious allegations and assassinate your character just to satisfy their own egos? No, that should not be the basis for that.
Well,
and I'm saying that I'm not saying that Gifty is innocent in this particular scenario.
Yes.
Neither am I saying she's guilty.
No, she's actually innocent until it's proven so. Yeah.
Exactly. So we cannot sit here and hang her.
Yes.
You see, so it's political expediency. It makes the followers of the political parties happy. They are exuberated, they are excited because yay, challenge.
But when I was talking about something that is, what is due people, I only meant to say what has been agreed upon. If the agreement is that you are paying me $5,000 for my service, you don't decide that you are going to pay me $1,000 out of the 5,000. Where's the remaining 4,000?
Did they have the money and they didn't pay?
Why didn't they have? If you didn't have the money, why did you promise it?
Masa.
You know, if I'm playing, no, it's one thing to know that I'm playing for free and I'm not going to be paid. But this is the agreement that we have reached, and you should honor the terms of your agreement. You are lawyers. I know you understand what I'm saying. Yes, yes. We should proceed. Well, right. Let me read a few messages. Somebody said you're always defending this or a lady. Yeah, are you? Oh no, you should.
The Constitution has said that she's innocent. She's innocent, so she's innocent. Oh no, but I said I made a full disclosure.
Yeah.
That when I was in third year, she was in first year, and she helped me when I was in. She's a very generous human being. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, I said it. Full disclosure.
Well, right.
Very generous. Even after university, at some point, I couldn't find. She was there. She was there. She's a friend.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that if
in any case, she's innocent
until proven guilty.
Well, right. Let's do a few more messages. Good morning, Bless. Is the 80,000 ghosts? Are the 80,000 ghosts working under the NSS from the MPP cemetery? Anyway, due process should be followed legally, and if any found guilty, it should be as usual. It shouldn't be as usual. Go and sin no more. Bibi from Musuku. Kwame Osudan, so you made it clear last time on this program when you were the host that the day that the lady in question is a close pal.
No, I'm not denying it.
Well,
I'm not denying it. I knew her when she was in K University.
right.
That one, yes.
I disagree with Kwame. You can't be eating 2 balls of kinky and tell me to eat half a ball because it can sustain me. Oscar sends this one. Good morning, Bless. Welcome from your hideout. Yourself. Well, I'm sure the person was talking about the newspaper review segment of the show. It says, welcome from your hideout. Your silence was loud. Okay. But I actually host the first segment of the show, the newspaper headlines, from 7 to 8. So please watch that one as well.
Your silence is
Please watch that one as well, Ken Williams. And Ken Williams is one of our ardent viewers, always glued to his TV set. I'm an NDC member from Very in the Wild West constituency of the Upper West region and want to condemn the barbaric act by the NDC youth. I think they are making the good people of Ghana to regret for giving us the power. I don't know what this is about. I don't know the particulars of the matter. Please, if you can furnish me with more details. What has happened? Well, okay. Good morning, Bless. My humble appeal to the president is he should let his appointees pay much attention to the problems facing the country and stop answering baseless and senseless arguments from the outgoing government, especially their so-called minority. The MPP are just trying to set this country into war, but they will fail. Ghana does not belong to the MPP, and Ghana is bigger than the MPP. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your message. 2 more. Good morning, KOD. I'm very disappointed in. Good morning, Bless. I'm very disappointed in KOD this morning. How can someone work for the country for free when others are taking huge sums of money home? How can you have an agreement and turn around to go against the agreement? Joe from Jessica sent this one. Okay. Bless, ask Kwame whether he's a friend to the NSS lady. He has already stated that. He has already stated that. He is. Well, this will be my final message. For the first time in Ghana's history, it's only this reckless and incompetent MPP government that has destroyed our economy to the extent of plunging it to junk status. So they should stop disturbing our ears and shut up. Asanko from Santa Maria. Thank you, Asanko, for your message. Let's proceed to other conversations. Let's proceed to other conversations here on the show. And yesterday, I happened to find myself around the Parliament House of Ghana, and there was heavy security, presence, policemen on their motorbikes, several of them. I could count up to 100 policemen yesterday around Parliament, and scores of people clad in red, holding placards with various inscriptions relative to some comments that an MPP member of Parliament made on the floor of Parliament. A few weeks ago, referring to Dr. Zaneto Agyemang-Rawlings as the daughter of a murderer. Yesterday, the Speaker gave out some directives. I think investigations are still ongoing. I don't know why it has taken so long for whoever said that to be found out, because I know there are cameras in Parliament, and so they can just, I just think that they know who probably did it. They are just, trying to shield the person. Let me take your comments on that, Council.
Very unfortunate statement. I think this Parliament hasn't started well. They are disgracing us. They are behaving in a manner which it does not represent what the people of Ghana represent, our values. And I don't seem to be talking too much about values, but really the way they are behaving is anti our values. See, you may recall that after the 2000 election, President Kufuor, one of the greatest presidents under this Fourth Republic, a president that was sponsored by the MPP when it was followed by the right spirit, felt that in his wisdom,
this is the right spirit for me.
Yeah, because he was at that time the MPP that sponsored him was followed by the right.
The current one is the familiar spirit.
No, deep, and it's even getting deeper. They were followed by the right spirit, and President Kufuor represented that right spirit, everything that was beautiful and made MPP very attractive. In his wisdom, in his solid wisdom, thought that the country cannot go forward unless we create a system, or we create a temporary system where people can have the opportunity to come and vent. People would be made to speak, a system where we will have the truth. So on the basis of the truth, we can have forgiveness and reconciliation. For the country to come together, deal with its checkered past, a past that really divided us. But we can move to, we can forget, we can put a closure on that past and move, create that strong one Ghana where love meets, and together we can build this country. That was the basis for the truth and reconciliation. That was the basis for the truth and reconciliation. You remember, not so blessed. J.J. Rawlings himself brought the more manner of allegations were made. He also had his time there, and the whole essence was that as in where there was a need for restitution. You understand? But my own father, my own dad, some of his properties were seized after the 66 coup. They were restored to him. And the whole idea was, so we put a closure to our past, then we can move forward as one people.
Yeah.
So it's very disappointing, very nauseating that all those efforts will be thrown away by one reckless statement. And it's sad that the allegation is that that reckless statement emanated from the MPP side of the House. So after 20 years, after 25 years of that wise decision that, once again, came from MPP when they were in their righteous period, would receive a slap in the face by an MPP that sat down and allowed familiar spirit to consume, take over every sinew, every part of their party, to throw away that wise decision to reconcile the country, to deal with our checkered past, to heal as a people, to give us the best opportunity to move forward as a people. A very unfortunate statement, a statement that we must all condemn. It does not represent us. It does not represent the spirit of Ghana. It does not. It must be condemned in no certain terms. I'm surprised the people themselves have not fished out that one person, unless they all be stunned by that statement. Unless they all stand by that statement. Unless the family has already dictates that they should all stand by that statement. Because, I mean, for some of us, we thought that having lost in this resounding manner, people of Ghana having rejected the familiar spirit-filled MPP, that they will take this opportunity to purge themselves of the evil spirit and take back, go and look and take back the cloak of righteousness. You understand? That formed their party, but they seem to be immersing themselves further in the familiar spirit. Further. And because of that, they don't see this. Because you see, that familiar spirit didn't allow them to fight for Ghana. I said, I'll give us to see this. The reason why, the only reason why political parties are formed is to advance the cause of the country. That's the only reason why I formed. You understand? I know, and within that would include then your desire to then win power, your desire to then create a platform where your ideals and values, which should align to the ideals and values of the country, you understand? You create a platform where it will be discussed and advanced for the ultimate purpose of the country. But then people sat down when Anado was granting us a governance that was, in all intents and purposes, adverse to the ideals of their party and the ideals of the country. The Galamsey sin, the reckless destruction of our economy, the destruction of the confidence that is required, basic requirements for any economy to thrive. But it's the first place to keep your money is with the government of Ghana. All those principles were thrown into the dust. And the people looked on. We were returned to the days of silence. People didn't have the courage to speak. Ghanaians started questioning the essence of this democracy, whether it was the best form of governance. Over 7 million of our compatriots didn't see the sense to go and queue and vote. Those were the levels we were reduced to as a people. Sadly, then the NPP turned their back on Ghana when they kept quiet. When they kept quiet and chose to defend that evil regime against Ghana. And you see, they've been given an opportunity to redeem themselves. They will give an opportunity to salvage what is lost of the obligation that lies on them to Ghana. But they chose the way. They chose the way of the familiar spirit as against the righteous spirit. And in spite of all the efforts of the people of Ghana collectively, the path we all chose to take, the path of reconciliation, the path of forgiveness, the path of truth, they threw everything into the dustbin. Threw everything to the dustbin of familiar spirits by that one reckless statement. And the fact that that reckless MP having disrespect. And you see, this matter is not about Ezarato Rollins. It's not about J.J. Rollins, His Excellency J.J. Rollins. In spite of everything we took, in spite of that truth and reconciliation effort, for me, it's a slap to the leader who felt that we needed to reconcile the people, forget our checkered history and forge ahead. It was a slap to President Kufuor. It's a slap to the people of Ghana, because President Kufuor couldn't have done that without the support of the people of Ghana. Yeah. It's a slap to all of us. Yeah. And I agree with you. He's taking. You see, I thought I want to commend the speaker for the position he's taken. I think it took him too long. So yes, an opportunity once again is being given to whoever made that statement, but also to the MPP. They are giving you a chance. Once again, that between the path of righteousness and the path of the familiar spirit, the path that will certainly lead to destruction, which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the path of the familiar spirit as against the path of righteousness, which will lead to a restoration of that party that was fueled by righteousness, that was fueled by patriotism? That's the opportunity being given to the MPP. Will you go home to their original settings, or do you continue on this path of destruction? This path that can only be fueled by familiar spirit. The choice is theirs, but I can show them of the choice of the people of Ghana. That if the person who made that reckless statement does not confess, if the MP will continue to shield him, and we are forced to fish that person out, then we will hasten. We will hasten. The people of Ghana, we will hasten their self-chosen route to destruction, because we cannot build a country where hate will rule. We cannot choose a country where vindictiveness will rule. We cannot choose a country where disrespect will rule. We cannot choose a country where the collective efforts of the people of Ghana towards a righteous reconciliation will be disrespected in this manner. So the choice is theirs, but we also have our choice. And should they make the wrong choice, should they choose familiar spirit over righteousness, they will also choose destruction for them as against a restoration. The choice is theirs.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Council. Kewdi.
Yeah, thank you. Under the circumstances, I think I would prefer Kwame Usudanso.
Right.
You know why?
Right.
There is this growing, devastating event, which we have to, as a matter of urgency, discuss. And maybe we may have to touch on it after my submission on this whole situation in Parliament, which has got to do with the issue of Galamsey, and how we are learning that some NDC party executives are heavily involved in Galamsey in some part of the country. Anya, I'm told, there's an executive member of the NDC who is heavily involved, and I believe in another constituency, which is the give me a second, let me check this, Dunkwao, the constituency chairman threatened and escorted some reporters from the site. I mean, it's mind-boggling and baffling that NDC seems to be repeating the errors of the past. The mayhem of the past, carefully hatched and executed by the MPP for the advancement of their parochial interests.
Yeah.
Okay, they are repeating the sins of the past, and they ought to be very careful. Some of them, not all of them, ought to be very, 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 very careful. Very, very, very careful. We cannot, on the basis of your promises, go out there, queue and vote to elect His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and then come back to the exact same things that we did not want happening in this country happen. So any NDC, regional, constituency, whatever executive who is directly or indirectly involved in Galamsey must begin to withdraw, because we will not have it. We will not have it. Secondly, it is unclear the real true position of the NDC in relation to the fight against Galamsey. It's unclear. We don't know the policy prescription of the NDC in the fight against Galamsey. We don't know. We don't. I'm told recently that they held a stakeholder engagement at Moving Pick or Kempinski, or one of them. Now, Moving Pick and Kempinski is not Anria. I am in no way saying that the minister is incapable. I've not said that. I think that the minister could address the issue of Galamsey. I am simply saying that we must begin to, as ministers, have broader, much broader consultative conversations about the way forward in relation to our fight against Galamsey. How are we going to deal with the issue of Galamsey? Involve the people who are directly involved in the act. You cannot sit in Accra and begin to think for the people who are down there, who are themselves engaged in Galamsey. You cannot begin to find solutions to a problem that you do not understand. It is not possible that you do not understand. You don't even know, you know the problem, you only know it superficially. But you don't understand the problem. How can you provide solutions? So, I think, to the extent that it has been reported, not by one media house, but multiple media houses, that there are some NDC executives allegedly being involved in Galamsey, the minister should immediately move in and deal with the issue. They've made some, they've been able to achieve some, some feat. I don't want to discredit them for that. I think that, it's also a good start. However, given the seriousness and the devastating nature of Galamsey, we must move with expedition. We must move with expedition, but with the clearest
of minds.
Exactly. And the thoughtfulness of actions, so that we know exactly where we are, what we are going to do, and how we are going to do it. Let nobody think that the overwhelming victory that came to the NDC in the just ended election is by reason of only the NDC followers. It is not. Let nobody deceive themselves that the NDC won overwhelmingly by reason of only the NDC followers. No. I won't be surprised if even MPP people voted for NDC.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised. Because nobody you come and tell you that I'm MPP, I voted for NDC. Yeah. I won't be surprised that President Mahama had 57-58%, not because of only the vote of the NDC people. So please, when we are raising concerns, they must listen to it in good faith. That we are only criticizing because we want them to succeed.
Yeah.
We are not criticizing because we hate them. No. Because my mother and my family members, my mother is dead, may God rest his soul. But my family members live in the central region, some in the western region. So if there's water shortage, my family members will suffer. You get the point?
It is precisely why all of us who have a voice, who are fortunate to have before them a microphone, reaching millions and millions of people, to always bring the attention of government and persons who've been taxed to superintend over various ministries, taxed to deal with specific things, to act. That's precisely what, you know, we are required to do. So, with the grace of respect, people have started complaining. I've seen NDC blogs even write about the involvement of some party people in Galamsey. It is not a pleasant sight, and therefore I want to quickly call on the minister to further engage with particularly the people who are themselves Galamseyers and the sponsors of same, so that together they can fashion out a plan that works. I have admitted here on Pan-African television not quite long ago that if we say that we are going to immediately deal with the issue of Galamsey and nip it in the bud and bring finality and closure to the issue of Galamsey, we'll be tickling ourselves. I've admitted here, because it's a much bigger and broader problem than we see it, that meets the eye. And so we cannot just wake up one morning and say, oh, we are you know, solve the issue of Galamsey. No, it's not possible. It's a perennial, unresolved, you know, issue. Okay? But our ability to design a clear roadmap in our attempt to dealing with the issue, for me, is the beginning of the beginning of the solutions that we need to deal with the issue of Galamsey. So please, the authorities must be up and doing, and they must engage further, so that we can, you know, fashion out a roadmap that works, that will satisfy the needs of everybody. The reason being that, and I kept telling somebody that if you look at the crime rate now, it is not as it was before, when Galamsey was not popular. Now that Galamsey is popular, many of these armed robbers and thieves and things like that are in the bushes mining. And so you see, so it is when you solve the Galamsey issue, you don't solve it well, it may create another problem. And in order that we can kill two birds with a stone, we need to be careful with our target. Which one are we targeting first? Are we targeting the issue of unemployment first and creating opportunities for young people before we now move into deal with Galamsey? Or we will deal with the Galamsey issue, and in dealing with the Galamsey issue, we'll be creating jobs for the young men to do. So we need to be able to now think outside the box and be very intentional about designing practical solutions which will resolve this issue of Galamsey, and also dealing with the people who are sponsors and financiers of the Galamsey activities of these young men. Now, coming back to Parliament and dealing with the issue of Senator Rollins, I told you this morning that the character of this Parliament, okay, in comparison to the character of Parliament in the 1990s, this Parliament, this kind parliamentarians and Parliament that we have, will be seen as jokers. Look at the caliber, the quality of parliamentarians that we had in the 1990s. In the crawling stage of our fourth Republican dispensation. Okay, one would have expected that in 2025, when the democracy is no longer crawling, but is running, we would have had people with Einstein minds, people with super intelligence, people with credibility and integrity failing and occupying the legislative house. Unfortunately, the caliber of parliamentarians that we have in our current parliament is nothing to write home about. But I don't blame them alone. The complexity of the lack of intellectuals in parliament is by reason of the direct actions of the Ghanaian people. Because our politics now is characterized by monocracy as opposed to intellectualism. And so you will notice that you will contest with Apia Dankwa, but by reason of your ability, of your nexus with money, cash, sika kudi, you will win the seat, even though they know that you have a mind of a coconut. But they will vote for you, and they won't vote for Apia Dankwa. So we, the good people of this country, we are the cause of our own problems. We are the root cause. We are the fundamental breach of the social contract we have with the country. We are the fundamental, when we say fundamental breach, it goes to the heart Basic, of the agreement. Yeah. We are the breach. We have breached. We are the good people of Ghana. We have breached. And so, that is why you have riffraffs, some riffraffs, excuse my French, in parliament. People who are so self-centered, narcissists, people who love to hear themselves in parliament, espousing arguments fraught with extreme partisanship positions. That is where we are. Bless. But we, the people of Ghana, we caused it. We caused it. Even in our own political parties, look at the people we elect to lead the parties. The MPP that I knew growing up, hey, do you remember the leader that when we say an MPP chairman, even a regional chairman of MPP, God damn it, do you remember? The caliber of people chairing political parties who distinguish themselves by leading exemplary lifestyles, by demonstrating superior leadership, and by demonstrating their death-defying love for this country. All those people are no longer there. And that is why, because of the monocracy or monocratic system characterizing our current political dispensation, someone like Osei Chairman will be ousted. Yes, he'll be ousted. And now people do not no longer vote for people with integrity, with credibility, with intellect. They would rather vote for people who have money, people who are loud, who are loud noise makers. People, if you know how to insult better, you will be given an opportunity. That's the kind of politics we are practicing today. And that is why till today, we have not been able to, as a nation, deal with the basic, fundamental, teething problems confronting our good people of Ghana. And I cited you examples of how, when they were younger, most of these politicians, when they were much younger and they were in university, they were one in a room. One in a room. And I told you of how a friend of mine who was in KNUSC, when he was in final year, they wrote letters to them to give them appointments. To employ them. employment letters were given to them. So if you had such a system in existence at some point in time in the history of this country, then how come that now young ladies have to resort to hookups and all manner of things just to survive? Why? Because we have failed leadership. But again, the failed leadership is as a result of our inability as Ghanaians to put the feet of the people that we elect into office to the fire of responsibility and accountability. And therefore they think that they are in parliament to represent political parties. They forget that they are in parliament to represent a constituency made up of different political parties, made up of different people from different ethnic backgrounds, made up of people of different religious backgrounds, made up of people who do not even believe in politics. But they go there and they do the bidding of their political parties at the expense of the bidding of the generality of the Ghanaian people. And therefore you find some riffraff in parliament describe another member of parliament, colleague member of parliament, as daughter of a Medra.
And when he was asked to stop, he said, "Now why is the father not a Medra?"
That is why I'm telling you that instead of doing do you know what parliamentary work is? Parliamentary work is not to go and defend your political party. And that is why Montesquieu, even though there's some interconnectedness, I told you, that is intertwined. However, for the purposes of ensuring that you scrutinize the workings of the executive and the judiciary, Parliament ought to be independent, or at the very least ought to try to be independent. And that is why I told you that given the executive nature of our democratic architecture, okay, the president is supposed to appoint some members to his cabinet from Parliament.
60%.
However, so it means that the role of having an oversight responsibility shifts to the minority in Parliament. Technically, the minority becomes Parliament. And therefore, the minority is supposed to act for and in the interest of the generality of all of the Ghanaian people, not just their political party. So when you are in opposition, and haven't you noticed that when political parties are in opposition, that is when they project their best brains. Yes, because it is assumed that because some of the members of parliament are in the cabinet of the executive, they will not necessarily come and advance arguments which are at variance with the policy direction of government. And therefore, that responsibility and burden shifts. Okay, omnia presumuntus shifts. That burden shifts also to the minority to now take on the role as the legislative body to oversight the actions and omissions of the executive and the judiciary, and not to go and be describing somebody's daughter. Why must a daughter suffer for the sins of the father? And people forget that albeit that all of us do not appreciate what had happened in the past, it was a necessary evil. People forget that events do not happen just for happening's sake. Events happen by reason of the exigencies of the time. At the time when Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966, the consensus, the general consensus at the time was that, hey, the people were happy. And that's why there was no bloodshed in Mebwa. When Kotoka them overthrew Nkrumah. 1966, that's what they said, right? But truth is always in the belly of time. Time has revealed that that singular act of overthrowing Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah was the beginning of the downfall of the Republic of Ghana. But at the time, that was the best decision. They thought that that is what they needed. They thought that that would give birth to multi-party democracy, because in the estimation of the coup makers, Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was building a one-party state.
Yeah.
Okay? Fast forward. We had multiple coup d'etats. Okay? There are always excesses, bless. Nobody is excited about the excesses. But like I'm saying, those were the necessities of war.
At the time, yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
And when it does happen, it does not mean that it should not have happened. Because you were not there. Because you were not the one who, you see. So let's move beyond that. That is why when President Kufuor won, he formed what we call the Reconciliation Committee. Ostensibly, to listen to the cries of people and to find a way of what? Reconciling and making good our past. Bear in mind that the only reason why we have not experienced any civil war or a coup d'etat in this country from 1993 till date is because of the benefit of the history that we have, the unpleasant history that we have.
Oh, yeah, right.
So please, let's be guided and be measured in our utterances.
Right.
For today, you may describe somebody as the father of a murderer, but tomorrow, your daughter, may also be described as such, because you people, by reason of your decisions, have caused many to be drinking Milo water. By your decisions, many are sleeping on the floor if they go to the hospitals. By your decisions, many wake up not knowing where their next meal is going to come from. Are you not a murderer yourself? Are you not?
Genocide.
You are causing mass genocide. The fact that you are not wielding machine gun and you are holding a pen does not mean that the person wielding the machine gun is more of a murderer than you. You are killing millions by a stroke of your pen. And that is more criminal than even the person wielding the gun. Because as for that one, you know that the person is wielding the gun. But as for you, I voted for you in full confidence and with trust, the last trust that I have in me, that you are going to have my interest at heart, not knowing that you are going to have your pen's interest at heart, and you are going to steal our resources for the benefit of your people.
Right. Thank you very much, Kwame Usudan. So our time is, far gone. We have exhausted all our time and even ran some 6 minutes more. I don't have time to read messages, unfortunately. Abdul Razak Mahama says, good morning, Kwame Usudan. So please tell KOD, please tell KOD that I say more fire. He's sitting on too much information. Okay. Fusaini Mahamadu says, good morning, lawyer KOD, distinguished guest and your viewers. I'd like to address the recent developments in our parliament, particularly the speaker's ultimatum to the member of parliament who made a derogatory comment about Dr. Zaneto Rollins. This incident has sparked widespread concern, and many are questioning the speaker's ability to address this issue effectively. Furthermore, there are unresolved matters from the 8th Parliament, such as the incident where the military entered the chamber, which remains unclear if it has been fully addressed. Okay, thank you very much. Jim F. Joseph says, welcome back. I've really missed your voice. Okay, please tell KOD, since it's an allegation, as rightly said, he should listen slowly till the cat is out of the bag. I think it has got to do with the Galamsey bits. Isaac Duda says, I'm highly disappointed in KOD for rushing to the defense of this woman. How? With a question mark. He should remember he was once a running mate. Hey, Edru. This one here also says that, good morning, Bless. I disagree with KOD's statement that the NDC is engaged in Galamsey. He said some executives. He didn't say the NDC. It's unfair to generalize that. He didn't generalize. He said some. I mean.
But I even mentioned the original.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Good morning, host. It is funny to learn that people who were struggling to fund their campaigns in opposition are now wallowing in unexplained wealth and owners of mansions, fleets of cars, and football clubs. It's sad that while teachers, doctors, and lecturers continue to live on slave wages, politicians are living opulent lifestyles, flying luxury jets, and throwing kinky parties at a time of pension haircuts and economic crisis. Ken Williams, thank you. Somebody said you shouldn't host the program again. It should appear as a panel. What a brain. Okay, Enoch from Tamale said.